他说要借我老公结个婚，就是让我跟我老公离婚，他跟我老公去领个结婚证，等事情办完之后再把老公还给我。
Friends who can understand this, once a husband is lent out, he may never come back. Friends, if your best friend brought 100,000 yuan to borrow your husband to do something, would you lend him or not? Standing before us is Ms. Tian from Shaanxi, who could not resist the temptation of money and lent out her own husband. But who could have known, when she lent him out everything seemed fine, but when it was time to take him back, the best friend already had a child. Let us go back to a day in 2024. Xiao Tian, who lives in Taiyuan, suddenly received a call from her best friend Zhong Ting. She excitedly told Xiao Tian that her house was finally going to be demolished for compensation. Hearing this, Xiao Tian was about to hurry over to congratulate her, but Xiao Zhong repeatedly reminded her, "You must bring your husband along." When they arrived, however, they found that, in the face of such overwhelming fortune, the best friend Xiao Zhong simply could not feel happy. It turned out that in their area the demolition compensation was calculated per person. Xiao Zhong was the only child in her family, and her parents had passed away a few years earlier.
那我一想，这我们家我父母不在了，我也没有兄弟姐妹，这样一算的话，我实在是很亏啊。那现在唯一的办法就是找个男人来结婚，可是你说这男人哪是说找就能找下的呀？
Then Xiao Zhong said to Xiao Tian, "Since we are best friends, please help your sister this time."
他说要借我老公结个婚，就是让我跟我老公离婚，他跟我老公去领个结婚证，等事情办完之后再把老公还给我。我说这怎么能行呢？
After hearing this, Xiao Tian's mind immediately froze. She had seen people borrow money and borrow things, but this was the first time she had ever seen someone borrow a husband. The idea sounded clever, but something felt terribly wrong. Xiao Tian decisively rejected the request. Then Xiao Zhong began to play the emotional card. "We are such good best friends, do you not trust me?"
我说这就是个假结婚，就领个证儿，又不是真让你老公和我过呢。他要真和我过，我还不乐意呢。
Seeing that Xiao Tian still would not agree to lend her husband, the best friend Xiao Zhong then said that after the matter was done she would give them 100,000 yuan. Hearing this, Xiao Tian became even angrier. "Do not use your filthy money to test the purity of our love." Xiao Tian resisted the temptation, but her husband Xiao Xing's heart wavered. His love could not withstand the test.
我一想，这事儿最多也就是1-2个月，到时候一切恢复如初，也没什么损失，还能拿10万元，也算帮了她闺蜜。
Under the persuasion of her husband Xiao Xing, the couple cheerfully went to the Civil Affairs Bureau and divorced. In the divorce agreement, it was stated that the house and all property belonged entirely to Xiao Tian. After that, Xiao Tian once again cheerfully brought her ex-husband and her best friend to register the marriage. At first, Xiao Tian was naturally very worried, afraid that the best friend Xiao Zhong would make ambiguous moves toward her husband. But during the first month, it seemed that nothing happened. This made Xiao Tian feel very guilty. Her best friend had kindly helped her make a fortune, and yet she had suspected her. Sometimes when waking up at night, Xiao Tian would even give herself a few slaps. Soon she would learn she had slapped herself too early. 5 months later, Xiao Zhong successfully received the demolition compensation and indeed transferred 100,000 yuan to Xiao Tian as promised. But Xiao Tian could not feel happy. Where was her husband? Where had her big living husband gone? Xiao Tian reminded her best friend many times to return her husband, but Xiao Zhong always found various excuses to delay and delay. Finally, when Xiao Tian could no longer endure it, she called both her ex-husband and her best friend out for a meeting.
刚见了面，我还没来得及开口呢，她倒先哭上了，然后她就说她怀孕了。
Xiao Zhong said she had already been pregnant for 3 months, and she herself was very kind-hearted and really could not bear to terminate the child. But please rest assured, the child was not from your husband.
那天我在 KTV 喝醉了，就和一个刚认识的人发生关系了，现在那个人我也找不见。
Xiao Zhong said that since she could not find that man, she was afraid she would not be able to register an official family record for the child. If the child was born without an official family record, there would be many troublesome matters afterward. So, since they were best friends, she asked Xiao Tian to help one more time and return her husband a little later. Hearing this, Xiao Tian pushed her best friend away, but Xiao Zhong quickly pulled her back again, calling her best friend affectionately several times, and even added more money. Immersed in these sweet words, Xiao Tian once again agreed to her best friend's request. 6 months later, Xiao Tian discovered a shocking truth.
这个孩子是她跟我老公生的。
6 months later, the child was successfully born, and Xiao Tian also rushed over at the first moment to give her congratulations. But sometimes, you do not know until you see it, and once she saw, Xiao Tian completely broke down.
然后那天去了呢，我就抱着孩子开玩笑的时候说了一句，哎，长得真像你妈妈。张婷儿就冷不丁的来一句，男孩还是像他爸多一些。说完还看了我老公一眼。
The strange atmosphere made Xiao Tian's mind run at high speed. She vaguely felt that she had fallen into a huge trap.
我当时整个大脑都是空白的，我脑海里就剩下张婷跟我老公说的一句话，这孩子是你的，当然像你。这个孩子是他跟我老公生的，这不是假的，这是真的。
Her ex-husband Xiaoxing immediately knelt down and swore, saying he had been wronged, that he truly did not know anything, that it was the best friend trying to drive a wedge between them. But whom should Xiao Tian believe, her husband or her best friend? What Xiao Tian did not expect was that her best friend did not try to deny anything, but instead openly admitted that from the very beginning, borrowing the husband was a scheme she had designed. Back in school days, she had already secretly loved Xiaoxing, but Xiaoxing only had Xiao Tian in his heart. The moment they graduated, they directly announced they were getting married, and Xiao Zhong felt very unwilling. So she began to get close to Xiao Tian and became her best friend, waiting quietly for an opportunity. Finally, at the beginning of 2024, Xiao Zhong saw her chance. When the old house was being demolished, Xiao Zhong heard that some people used fake marriages to cheat demolition compensation, and that sparked a bold plan in her mind. After getting the compensation, Xiao Zhong kept finding chances to ask Xiaoxing out to play. At first, Xiaoxing was disciplined and self-restrained, but he could not withstand Xiao Zhang's continuous persuasion and emotional attacks. One thing led to another, and they did everything they should not have done.
他说只想和我要个孩子，到时候也不用我负责。孩子一出生就离婚，不同意就把这件事告诉我老婆。我也知道我老婆的脾气，这件事要是被她知道，我们肯定完了。
Truly, the two of you deserve each other. Of course, Xiao Zhong never intended to do it that simply. She believed that as long as the child was born, she could keep Xiaoxing for herself. According to the civil code, during the woman's pregnancy and within 1 year after childbirth, or within 6 months after pregnancy ends, the man is not allowed to file for divorce.
这婚我肯定是不会离的，说成什么我也不会离。
Hearing this, Xiao Tian became furious and stormed out.
我说邢大伟，你真厉害，如你所愿，咱们完了。
Seeing Xiao Tian so furious, her ex-husband regretted everything.
我现在是真后悔，当时就不应该答应他这个假结婚，这个婚我肯定是得离，打官司也得离。
现在想离婚，你得把我和孩子的抚养费给算上，给我50万。
After that, the best friend Xiao Zhong said that divorce was possible, but first he must give her 500,000 yuan as compensation. Xiao Zhong did this not because she really wanted the money, but because Xiaoxing had left the marriage with nothing during his previous divorce, and now he had no money at all. A forced melon may not be sweet, but if it is edible, it is edible. However, what Xiao Zhong did not expect was that she underestimated Xiaoxing's determination. He begged many friends and truly managed to borrow 500,000 yuan. Finally, Xiao Zhong agreed to the divorce request. She did not take the 500,000 yuan, she only requested that the ex-husband could come to see the child more often. Seeing this, Xiaoxing was overjoyed, and hurried to comfort his ex-wife Xiao Tian, discussing the possibility of getting back together. But can things really be restored?
这件事情我也有错，当时我就不应该答应的，我心里接受不了这样的事儿。就算复婚，我们也不可能再恢复到从前了。
In the end, Xiao Zhong got the demolition compensation and also gained a child. Xiao Tian kept all the property she had before the divorce, plus 100,000 yuan for lending her husband. And her husband Xiaoxing left the marriage with nothing, losing both his wife and his dignity.
In this matter, no one truly won. Xiao Zhong, under the name of best friend, carried out the cruelest calculation. She believed that by obtaining the demolition compensation and having a child, she could secure a relationship. But love has never been something that could be gained through scheming or possession. What she ended up with was only a secret that could never be made public, and a child she could never face with peace. And Xiaoxing? He thought he was just borrowing a marriage, just going through a formality, and that nothing would happen. But the most dangerous thing in marriage is believing it is stable enough to be casually tested. The human heart is not a bank account. Once lent out, it changes. Once hurt, it can never return to the way it was. Some people say Xiao Tian was foolish, but I think she was simply trying to understand the world through kindness. The mistake was not her kindness, but that she gave her kindness to the wrong person. So, friends, do you think Xiao Tian should reconcile? And how close would you allow the word best friend to come to your life? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. I truly look forward to hearing your voice. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.